Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Happy freaking Monday. We're back for a new week, and Nintendo has some very difficult decisions to make. I cannot wait to weigh in on this one. We're talking about Nintendo Switch Online disaster and what is currently going down. Plus, a new game was announced from the fine folks at Warner Brothers for Nintendo Switch. Is it a winner or is it a wag? Also, we've got a new trailer for a Legend of Zelda anniversary thingamabob that we've already seen what's going on there. Plus, Nintendo loses to Sony for the first time in 3 years. It's a jam-packed episode with a lot of juicy details and news and some very interesting scenarios I want you to weigh in on. So make sure to smash that like button. Let me know your take in the comments down below. And what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I'm so glad to be back in the chair of Good Morning Mario, bringing you the Nintendo news and nuggets. Now, before we pull down the lap bar and get this coaster rolling, just want to make a quick shout out to my fine family over at Lexar. They make the absolute best memory card for Nintendo Switch. It's the Lexar Play Card, coming in varieties up to 1 terabyte, which will take your entire Switch game collection and beyond and keep it safe and stored forever. It's a super fast card. They're super fun friends over there. They love the show, they love you, and I highly recommend you check them out. Every time you click the link in the description down below, it helps support the channel, and if you need any sort of extra storage, they are the ones to go to. All right, let's kick it off with a new game announcement. DC Fandome was dropping bombs all weekend, bombs of excitement. That Batman trailer with Robert Pattinson, I'm gonna see that one as soon as it hits in March, probably right at Twilight. They also showed off new CG trailers for Suicide Squad, which I'm a little lukewarm on, and the new Batman game Gotham Knights, which I'm really high on, but there was a Switch announcement in there. Did you see it? Did you miss it? It was buried. It's DC League of Super Pets, The Adventures of Crypto and Ace. Yeah, while the other platforms get multiplayer, Batman action in Gotham Knights, and Rocksteady's Rebound in Suicide Squad, we get an on-rails dog shooter. And don't worry, you're not shooting the dog's doing the laser blazing and he's flying around and it just seems absolutely mobile. Yeah, 2022, year of DC on the Switch. Man, I wish we get a Batman game or at least a collection. It's supposedly the 10th anniversary of Arkham City. I miss the Arkham franchise. I think it'd be a perfect fit for Switch, but in the meantime, you've got flying laser dogs. Anyways, Nintendo dropped a new trailer for their Legend of Zelda Game & Watch. If you remember, this is what they have for the anniversary. Aonuma was like, yo, we ain't got more games, but we do have this. And it's a Game & Watch that's a pretty cool looking piece of nostalgia, right? It plays Legend of Zelda 1, The Legend of Zelda 2, and The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Now that's a kind of cool package of games from ye old times of Link's adventuring, but it's not really the new special stuff we'd want for an anniversary. Granted, they are giving us Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in a very shaky way with the expansion pack, but this is Nintendo's special service for Zelda's big anniversary, Skyward Sword HD and Game & Watch. And apparently most people are watching and not gaming because they released a new trailer. This thing is out November 12th, and it's not selling all that super well. It's not gonna be the superstar for scalpers that they secretly hoped it would be, which is good for you if you want one. It should be pretty easy to get, and now they're promoting it to say like, hey, remember this, do you wanna buy it? Probably not, but maybe if you're really hardcore and remember Zelda from way back then, maybe you will. I still think it's nifty, I just don't think it's necessary. If you're interested though, they should be available and they're out in just a couple of weeks. Now, what if I told you the past 4 weeks were super low for Nintendo? I mean, it's a little bit facetious, they weren't super low, but it was the first time in 33 months that Nintendo didn't have the top selling console for the month. The September NPDs came out. Those are the stats and sales from the previous month in the gaming industry, and they showed that the PlayStation 5 was the best-selling video game console in terms of dollars and units, dethroning the Switch for the first time in nearly 3 years. Now, I'm sure the Switch will bounce back as it has a bunch of cool games coming out this fall and the lineup for Sony is quite light, but it is interesting to note because Nintendo has had such a tight vice grip on that top spot. There's no reason to panic or worry. It'll be interesting to see if PlayStation 5 can keep it going now for a streak of 2 months, or if Nintendo snatches it right back when we get the October numbers. In terms of game sales, an interesting Switch title took pole position, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe somehow continues to do it. MK8D was the top-selling Switch game for September, with WarioWare Get It Together coming in at number 2, which I think is pretty solid for that franchise, being a little bit more of an underdog, although I'm sure they would have liked to have the top spot. Number 3 was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, probably in preparation for the final DLC and the Sora reveal. And then number 4 was Diablo 2 Resurrected. Number 5, Animal Crossing New Horizons, seen a bit of a downturn, although I expect the sales of that game to pick way up now that they have the all expansion, right? 2.0 coming on November 5th with Happy Home Paradise bringing in like every character and every feature imaginable. They just kind of did the unthinkable in one of Nintendo's best PR moves of this decade. All right, now buckle up because this is where things start to get kind of twisted. All right, while the sales are status quo, things in the Switch Online space are anything but. People are pissed, people are peeved, and people are panning this thing all around the interwebs. So bad to the point that the latest Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack trailer on YouTube, the one detailing the release date and the price point, it has 63,000 dislikes, dwarfing the 15,000 likes the video has earned. And this is bad. It feels like Nintendo Switch Online is being canceled because I haven't seen a negative reception to something Nintendo announced like this in a long time. This is one of the worst that feels universally agreed is a bad move. Yeah, we've seen like the National Dex dilemma, we've seen things with the Switch price point and the OLED and the Pro, but it never was like this. It never was where everyone said, oh my God, this is egregious. This is out of control. It's not even like, oh, I can justify it. Like the OLED has an amazing screen and a much nicer kickstand and feels more premium. This is just pathetic. Let's be honest. And I wanna know if you agree. Am I being too hard on this expansion pack, or do you feel the same that 50 is freaking crazy? I have not seen one person praise the price of $50, to the point that some people are canceling their subscription and saying they're sick and tired of Switch and their online service. I went back and looked at the past trailers detailing the NES game lineup and the SNES game lineup and Switch Online editions throughout the past few years, and almost all of those trailers were similarly absolutely destroyed in the dislike column. Fans have not been happy with Nintendo's output or decision making for a while now. And the only saving grace for why this service was nowhere near as good as the Virtual Console or any of the other competing consoles is because of the price point. $20 just felt like, whatever. It's less than $2 a month. It just kind of exists. You play online and Tetris 99, and maybe you tried out Donkey Kong Country once and forget about the rest. But now with the increase to $50, I feel like all heck has broken loose. This is a $30 increase. And Nintendo has a tough decision to make because the feedback is universally awful. And yet this thing is out in less than 10 days. It comes out October 25th. Will they make a change? We've seen many video game companies in this year and recent memory make adjustments based on fan feedback, shifting things around, adjusting release dates, delaying games, and even changing titles. Will Nintendo have the guts to do something like that? I think they are completely stuck into the price they picked. And I think Nintendo feels fine with the price they picked. I think they value their IP and their games to the utmost degree. And they say, you know what? Our games are worth it, even if we only start with 9 N64 games and a handful of Genesis titles. Let me remind you that you can go to GameStop right now, and for $27.99, you can own over 50 Genesis games on your Switch. There's a classic Sega Genesis cartridge with over 50 for $27.99. That's less than the price increase for 1 year of the expansion pack. And I know they're including Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise, but I've seen plenty of people that just have no interest in Animal Crossing feel like this is absolutely meaningless. If you don't own New Horizons, that perk means nothing. This isn't a standalone game. You can't play it by itself. It's not even a trial. If you're not an Animal Crossing player, the expansion pack is literally N64 and Genesis for $30 extra. Now, I've heard some people try to justify this by saying, hey, broken down month to month, it's $2.50 extra per month, $2.50. And if you split that between N64 and Genesis, it's $1.25 to play your favorite N64 games every month. And if you think about it like that, I feel much better. It's a little bit of number miraging and, kind of addition magic, but it does feel okay to say, hey, they're adding multiplayer and online to these games. But when you take it as a whole $30, it's like, what are we doing? How is this 2.5 times the original service, and we can't even count on you to have regular releases? So I don't think Nintendo has the ability to change the price, and I don't think they want to, but I do think they have the ability to announce more. I sure as heck hope that Nintendo's plan wasn't to roll with this for forever. I hope that their idea and their marketing pace was to present more offerings later on. Their hand may now be forced with 69,000 dislikes and a ton of angry Nintendo fans begging for more, or more like begging to just not buy this thing. Nobody is going to be all that interested. And even though some will probably buy it to still be able to play Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64 and eventually one day Banjo-Kazooie and the promise of more rare games, and I get the whole licensing thing that costs a lot, but still, Nintendo makes billions. Why don't they eat some of that cost instead of passing it all along to us? Because $50 for not the greatest online multiplayer, $50 for friend codes, $50 for a few game trials, but nothing actually free, $50 for the system that they have in place, now with 64-bit games. I don't see it. I don't see it at all, and this is one of the weird times where I feel like I may not want to buy what they're offering. Like, I probably will just so I can cover it for you and see what's going on, if there's anything extra or secret behind the scenes or any additions they haven't mentioned, but it feels completely like a waste. And so I implore Nintendo to announce something more. If they have any plans to bring in more DLC, to bridge more expansion packs along the way for free, they better get out in front now. They have less than 10 days to convince a humongous percentage, by our poll 76, and by the greater internet maybe even a higher percentage, of players to say, hey, this is potentially worth it. Like, they don't have anything to show us day one, but they could at least present possibility. Right now it seems like a dead end, and if you believe that Nintendo will pump out N64 games and Genesis games every month, you are tricking yourself, because they've had years to do that with NES and SNES, and they haven't done it. In fact, they continue to put out games that no one's ever heard of, instead of promoting the classics that many players would love to see hit their Switch console. This is a staggering situation where we all expected a $5 or $10 increase, and instead we got a $25 price hike. And I think it's not sustainable. Yet Nintendo will maintain, and so therefore they need to add value since they can't subtract price, and I am praying that they do so. Please let me know in the comments down below what you would need them to add to make this worth it for you, to make the $50 not feel like it was a ripoff, and to make you want to stick with Nintendo Switch Online. Because like I said, I've seen players say like, they're done. They don't want to be a part of this service. They've waited years and years. We're coming up on the 5th year of Switch, and it still stinks, it still feels kind of archaic, and it's still missing very obvious basic features that everybody else in the market space already has. Whew, I'm a little worked up here on a Monday. Good way to get the blood flowing, the brain firing, and we're gonna be back with another episode tomorrow. We already did the poll. 76% of you say, nah, not getting it. I was surprised that as many as 24% said you still wanna pick up that expansion pack, and I wonder how many of that 24% are primarily doing it for Happy Home Paradise and not for the N64 Genesis games at all. Well, we'll see. I got some ideas for what Nintendo could do, and I hope they make some sort of announcement. Otherwise, I think it is going to be a very crickets type day on the 25th. Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for being here. Thanks for being a part of my family. I appreciate you all so very much. Make sure you're staying safe, staying healthy, staying happy, staying positive out there, protecting your $30 so it doesn't go to the expansion pack unless you really want it, which, okay, that's your prerogative, but I hope Nintendo does something soon. Until next time, enjoy your week, all right? Focus on something fun that you have to look forward to, even if it's the weekend, and use that to pull yourself forward with power and positivity. You'll be amazed if you create a little positivity in your world, how it starts to spread to those around you, and then it makes it easier to continue and keep up. Little nugget from me to you. I love you a lot. Until next time, SwitchForce out.